In this video, I'm going to make the Plummer block, the block cap. It's part of the Plummer block assembly. First of all, it's in millimeters, so make sure you go down to the lower right-hand corner, set it to millimeters. I'm going to start. I think the most complicated part of this is the circular part, so I'm going to start with that. So I'll start with 2 concentric circles. And the big one is 96. The little one is 48 because they give you radius dimensions. So that's the plumber's block right there. I'm going to expand my screen so I got more room to work. Now I'm going to need some lines. I'm just going to draw some horizontal lines across here. Make sure they're horizontal. I'll need 3 of them. And just put them anywhere, it's fine. Let's see, I don't know if those are long enough. Just let me stretch those out a little bit. I don't want to, if they're too short, be a pain. Okay, now that one, yeah, everything's good there. So let's just put some dimensions on there to locate those. So we know from the center to there is 8. There to there, 16. And that's 12. I think I'll start with this bottom piece. I need a vertical line. Oops, I need a vertical line. One on each side. Again, make sure they're vertical. And I think to make this a little clearer, maybe I'll trim off this bottom part. So we know that this distance between this line, this point here, is 5 millimeters. Same thing over here. From this line to this point is 5. And we can trim those away. I know there's a lot of lines on there, just bear with me. Maybe what I'll do is get rid of a few more lines. You'll start to see this shape. That's, there we go, that's better. Start to see this shape. Definitely don't need that. Okay, so see how I'm developing that bottom. It's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's keep going. So also I'm going to need vertical line on this side, vertical line on that side. Trim all this stuff here, trim this. There we go. So I got my general shape there. Some dimensions to help keep it under control, but now I can come in and really put the rest of the dimensions. I know this overall length is 108, so that means this is going to be 54. And that's going to be 54. Let's see what else. We did lose when I trimmed off, I lost a lot of those dimensions. Let's put those controls back on. Try to get this constrained. I got rid of a few too many things when I trimmed. Well, I just lost some of my dimensions. When you trim off the line, if there's a dimension attached to that line, the dimension will go with it. Don't need that one. Still missing. Getting closer. Something about this doesn't really like. We can try this. Fully define the sketch. Sometimes this creates a giant mess. Honestly, I think I have, it was missing that dimension, which is kind of a meaningless dimension, but now we got everything constrained. So let's go ahead and extrude this. And it's 46 wide. Now I would strongly recommend when you extrude it to go around the midpoint, because that way you'll have the axis through the center or a plane through the center. So a couple of other things. Nothing's easy with this part. So if you look at the top, you'll see it has like an arc to it here. So we have to fix that. So let's make a sketch. And I don't know, it might be easier just to do it on the bottom. Doesn't really matter. Let's just use that plane right there. And you see, again, my midpoint is right there, which makes it easy. That circle is going to be 108 millimeter or 54 millimeter radius. So what I need to do is cut out these corners here. So I need another circle, I need like a donut. It doesn't matter what size that diameter is. I'll put a dimension on there just so it's constrained, but it really doesn't matter. So you can see what I have is that donut there. And then I'm just going to use my extrude cut away the material, and I've got that general shape. Another thing I have is there are some cutouts here for where those holes are. I think I'll put those holes in first, actually. And one thing I will do is try to at least get them on the center line, and then I can locate them. So find that center there. And those are 12 millimeter. Extrude cut those. And now let's make those recesses. So I'm going to need a new sketch. And if you come out to the outside, don't click it, but you can find your center there, and then just draw the circles. Remember, don't click it till you get to the center point. Need dimensions on those. Now that tells you that's a radius of 17, so that diameter is 34. Finish the sketch, and you see what I have those sketches there. What I'm actually going to do is kind of unusual, so I'm going to extrude cut, but I'm going to go up with those cuts. Now if you need to add, since I already selected that feature, it won't let me click on that. Come down here where it says selected contours, click on that. You can click on the next part, and I need to flip the direction of the cut, and I don't care how high it goes, just so it cuts out those pieces. Okay. So what do we have left? We've got that counterbore hole. That's a little tricky because it's a counterbore from the top, not from the bottom. But you can't click on this curved surface, so we'll need a work plane for that. So let's go to reference geometry. We need a plane. First reference can be this flat surface. My next reference is going to be that surface right there, but you want to make sure that you selected parallel. And you'll see I've got, turn that part. You see I have a plane. It's parallel to that one, but it's touching that surface. Now, in order to locate this counterbore, it's a little bit tricky. I suggest you create an axis. The easiest way to create an axis is, oh no, just come over here to your part tree. Look at the planes that you have from the original. Turn that on. got that mid plane there. Remember how I extruded about the mid plane? That's kind of why I did that. I was thinking ahead. And I have my right plane. So that intersection right there, I can create an axis just by clicking on that plane and that plane. So the yellow line. So that's where I want to put that counterbore hole. Now I can just turn these off. Right click, turn it off. Right click, turn it off. So that'll make it real easy to do this. So I'll go to my hole wizard. Now it's a counterbore. And it's metric. Make sure you have metric. But we're not going to use a standard size. We have to go down here. Let's go. If that's not high, if that's not checked, you'll need to check that custom sizing. Because if you look at the dimensions for the standard 5mm head socket head cap screw, it's not correct. So show custom sizing and just come in here and put the values that you have. The through hole is 6mm. The counterbore hole is 8mm, and the depth of the counterbore, it's very deep. It's 16. That's the one, definitely that's not a standard. Click on, I guess there was a conflict there because I had messed around with these other holes. I'm gonna start over. I was talking and clicking. I somehow messed something up. Let's try again. Hole wizard, counterbore. Yeah, I want the custom sizing. 6, 8. Yeah, I don't know what I clicked on there, but it didn't like that at all. 16. Okay. Position. So first of all, select that plane because that's the surface, and then you have to select where you want the hole to be. And because we have that axis, you just have to click on that axis. Say OK, and you can see I've got my counterbore hole. And then I can right-click on that plane, turn it off. I can right-click on that axis, turn it off, and there is my finished part.